Welcome back to the Everything Sports Podcast. I'm here with Chase and Chris, and today we are live in front of a live audience. And we will be talking about what team we think can make the furthest run in the playoffs this year in the NFL that may not be expected or did not make the playoffs last year. Chris, you go first.
I mean, to start off, I think there's a lot of teams. I think the Falcons are a very young team and definitely have the potential to reach the playoffs and make a deep run in the playoffs.
You still think the Falcons can make the playoffs even with their uncertainty at the quarterback position with Desmond Ridder?
Well, I mean, with the talent around him, I definitely think they have a chance. But
What talent? They traded Calvin Ridley.
Kyle Pitts. What's the
Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, they're a good team. I think they could. Their defense is really good. They had a lot of free agency acquisitions this offseason.
Same topic. What do you think?
I think I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens after Lamar had them in a headlock with his contract. He's coming back. They made some great signings like Odell Beckham Jr. and they had a great draft going up and getting Zay Flowers. And they still have returning guys coming back on the defensive end like Calais Campbell and
We have some questions from the audience.
yeah.
So you say the Ravens made a really good acquisition of Odell Beckham Jr., but the thing about Odell Beckham Jr. is we have not seen him play for a whole season. He got injured in the Super Bowl the season before. So do you think Odell is going to come back and be that same player? Because injuries like this, and especially how old he is, he could easily regress.
I see what you're saying there, and yeah, he could definitely regress, and I probably think he's going to. But even then, Odell is still Odell. We saw what he did in the Super Bowl, where he was still coming off injuries, and he was still a major player for that Rams Super Bowl team. So I think he could definitely be one of those major pieces again for the Ravens. He's not going to be what he was, but he's still going to be a very good player.
What do you think about his contract? 1 year, $20 million. You think that's too much for a player like Odell at this stage?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a lot for a 1 year deal too, but I mean, if Odell does have the season we're expecting him to have on this contract, then I would say it's a fair contract.
So after the season's done with the Ravens, if Odell, let's say he has an average year, where do you think are people that could sign him next season?
Oh, question from the audience.
Just want to know, because you guys were talking Falcons, if you think Drake London could be a top 10 receiver in the league this year.
I think top 10 may be a stretch, but like I said before, if they can make a run, I think he's definitely has a chance to be top 10.
Another question from the audience.
And you guys talking about contenders and stuff. What about the New York Giants? And second year of Brian Dable, made the divisional round last year with that Peter roster, kind of filling the holes with linebacker Bobby Okereke and then another X-Factor weapon for Daniel Jones and Darren Waller. Is this the time to strike for the Giants?
I think seeing what the Giants did last year with barely any receivers and mid-defense at best, seeing how far that they were able to win one game in the playoffs with first-year head coach and Brian Dable. So seeing how they would build off that is interesting, but I definitely think if they make a run, I definitely think it's possible.
Yeah, going along with that, I definitely think that the Giants can make a run. It all depends what they can do with Saquon Barkley. I mean, if they extend him, he's good, but he's still franchise tag for a couple more years. So I definitely think that the Giants could also be potential to make a run.
We can take one more question.
What are your thoughts on the Chicago Bears? They made a bunch of big acquisitions this offseason. They're in a relatively weak division. So what are your thoughts on them?
I think DJ Moore is definitely a very good acquisition to go with Justin Fields. I mean, Justin Fields had no one to throw with, so he doesn't really have to be forced to run the ball every time. So we'll see kind of how that duo plays out.
Yeah, definitely like the Bears.
But the Bears are the Bears. I mean, their defense didn't get bought all better. So.
I think it did.
All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for listening.